Good evening, everybody. How are we all? Welcome, good evening. Thank you very much for coming along, folks, to this SMiSA public meeting this evening. My name's Colin Kelly. I'm going to be your host this evening. I'm a St Mirren fan. I am a journalist as well, which I think is why I've been asked to put some questions to this man and sort of look after things this evening. I would stress tonight is all about you. And hopefully your commitment and support for #BuyTheBuds. We're going to give you an update tonight on how we're getting on with this project. They've told me to say it, if you haven't signed up yet, you can sign up tonight. We're going to make that really easy for you. If you're watching online, if you're on Periscope or Facebook or whatever, smisa.net is where you want to go. And you can make your commitment on there for just £12 a month or £25 a month. Or £2,500 a month. Not a month. Well, if you want, you know. The other important thing, of course, about the money is that, see, I'm trying to get you value here, guys. The other thing about the money is an element of it, so of the £12 a month, £2 every month is ring-fenced. And the members will be able to decide and vote on where that money goes and how that money is spent. So there's certainly some interest there in terms of where the money's going. Tonight we're going to be answering your questions. I'll be running a sort of question and answer interview with Gordon Scott, myself. And while that's underway, you can tweet your questions using #BuyTheBuds. And in the second half of the evening, we'll run through your questions. We also have the roving microphone as well, so we should be able tonight to take some questions from the floor. We're not going to get too in-depth into the journey and how we got here tonight, because many of you have been at previous meetings and you already know that. But if you have any of those type of questions, I think there's some leaflets on your chairs as well, and the full board from the SMiSA team, they're circulating tonight. They'll help you get signed up, and they'll be able to help you with any further questions that you might have. Does that all make sense? Is that all good for everybody? Great. So just to introduce who we've got. Immediately to my left we have Gordon Scott, the former St Mirren director. Here we have David Nicol, and we also have George Adam from the SMiSA board. And to kick us off, we're just going to hear a few words from Dave Nicol, who's going to tell us a little bit about the progress that's been made with #BuyTheBuds.
Thanks very much, Colin. Yeah, so just a quick status update. I'll keep this fairly brief because I think the main reason you're all here is sitting to my right. So, as of this latest count, just before we started this evening, we're just about 850 ordinary members, which is fantastic. A really great number to be at this point. We've got a deadline on Sunday the 19th of June, so we've got about 150 more to go to get over the line by Sunday. So if you haven't signed up yet and you're watching or you're in the room, then please sign up before then. We've got more than 100 people have pledged for the Founder Plus membership, which is the £25 a month membership, which is slightly ahead of target, which is ideal. And we're on target with the premium memberships, the £2,500 total memberships, not per month. But if you want to pay £2,500 a month, you're more than welcome. But we're just about on target with the £2,500 memberships, the premium memberships. We've got a couple of spaces left, but they are on short supply. So if you're interested in that, get in touch ASAP. I think the most important news to share with you tonight is that we moved from having a deal in principle to having an agreed deal. So, on paper, this deal's done, provided we get over that 1,000 membership, 1,000 people. So, there's a real step forward in that sense. There's a couple of changes in terms of the financing to the bid. So, initially we had spoken about trying to get a loan to cover our part of the share purchase, and we've spoken to a couple of lenders about that. One of which we really had sort of high hopes would come through, but unfortunately that didn't materialise. We've also looked at some commercial banks, and some of them are interested. It's not really a very competitive rate of interest. It's not really the best use of our money, we felt. So our real ultimate favoured option is for the Supporters Direct Bank, which is not quite up and running yet. It's designed for projects like this. It's going to be low interest. It's designed to help fans invest in their football clubs. And it's with a partner, Sports Direct, who give us a great deal of support, not just through this project, but over many years. So that's a preferred option. However, that's not going to be up and running for probably, well, certainly not in this calendar year. So we can't go down that route for now, but what we've managed to do is speak with the selling consortium, and we've managed to agree a staged payment which will buy us a number of months. The stage payment works over the next 2 years, but it effectively buys us a couple more months before we can engage with more social lenders and line up the actual loan at that point. We are speaking with 2 social lenders at the moment who are very interested in the project, and we're confident we'll get some joy out of that. But the good news then is that the deal is concluded effectively as long as we get over 1,000 memberships. We've got a staged payment arrangement which is in place. That means we'll give them a lump sum up front. We'll then have a series of payments over every month, £5,000 per month for the next 2 years, and then the balance to be paid at the end of the 2 years. So this gives a great opportunity because it buys us time to get the right deal, the right financing deal for the project. One clause that we have to make clear, just in the interest of transparency, that is if the club is to make extraordinary income in that time, so if the club makes money that it wasn't budgeted for, the way the deal will work is that money will go to the sellers, 50% of that will go to the sellers, and SMiSA will pay that back to the club. So it's important that the club won't lose out in that sense. It's just that the loan effectively will move to the club. And it's important to remember that initially we promised the consortium their money in full. We've had to go back to them and say that we can't do that. In fact, they asked them to accept a delayed payment. So this is the compromise situation that we've found ourselves in. And there's a couple of key points I just want to stress on that. The club won't lose out. Every penny will be paid back to the club by member income as soon as we're able to. And if we have a lump sum in the bank, that can be used to minimise to offset any spend. The consortium aren't getting any more money. This doesn't change the dynamic of the deal that we agreed in March. It's just a way of us paying them off quicker. And we won't be bound to sell anything. The clause only kicks in if this so happens, and that decision will purely lie with the new board that Gordon will form. Clearly, if we get a loan in, and we've got 2 social lenders who are very keen to get involved with the project, then this clause never kind of kicks in. We're keen to give everybody the full picture before moving forward. Ultimately, we see this as a really good deal for us. The commercial lenders are looking for 7 or 8% interest, and that's a lot of our money then as collectively supporters will be getting burned paying banks interest rates. So this way we actually minimise that, and all of that money can effectively go towards investing in the club. So the only people that are losing out here are the banks, and who cares? So the important message really in all of this is the deal is moved from in principle to effectively agreed. There's only one hurdle in that remaining, and that's to go over 1,000 members. We just need that final push to get over the line, and this will become reality. Thanks.
Dave, thank you very much. Thank you for the update, and of course, think of your questions, tweet them in just now, #BuyTheBuds, and we'll get to them in the second part of this evening. So Gordon Scott is with me now, and Gordon and I are going to run through a short interview. Gordon, just to get us started, the details there from Dave that the original idea was to pay the current owners in full. That's now not possible. So what's your reaction to that? How does that make you feel about this?
It doesn't really change my thinking at all. It's something we've had to do to try and get the deal home. There's been challenges all along the way, and this is just really the final challenge, was trying to get the deal done at an interest rate that was good for us, and just really getting the deal done. That's what it was all about. Dave's saying that the deal's actually, we've done the deal, we've still got a couple of small things to sort out. In principle, not in principle, the heads of terms have been agreed pretty much, but there is still a little bit of more talking to be done, so it's not quite 100% there. We're probably 98% of the way there, but we're not quite 100%.
I know you're a busy guy, and we'll hear more about that in a second, but what have you been spending your time doing these last few weeks?
Well, today I think I spent all day on the phone to various people trying to get this over the line, because it's been all the different parties involved, SMiSA, myself, the guys that are selling. It's been a long slog. Certainly last week's been the hardest thing in a lot. Obviously, with the movement hurdles, and we've overcome them all so far, and we've only got 1 or 2 still to go.
I mean, you can say that the remaining hurdle is 1,000 people, but there's other hurdles, obviously.
Oh yeah, but I mean, once we get 1,000 people, we will then pay exclusivity. Over that next month, we need to get accountants, lawyers. They need to make sure that we've been told is correct, all the accounts stack up, all the contracts in place are okay, what we've been told is correct. So there is still potential for it to fall, but it will be, if everything is as we've been told it is, then 15th of July we'll get the keys and we'll be taking over then.
We've heard about what SMiSA is going to do with this money, this lump sum. They're taking pledges from the fans. They're also borrowing some as well.
They're trying to, the plans to try and borrow the money initially so the deal would actually happen. We've had, as Dave said, we had somebody lined up who has backed out. We're left in a situation where we could go to some people and pay a higher rate of interest. The supporters are regulated as a preferred route. We've managed to agree a deal with the selling consortium that allows us to go down that route when it suits us rather than being forced down a route just now. We've had to take a lot of compromise in terms of the asset sale, but in the long term it means more money is going towards the club rather than going towards fans, as Dave said.
There'll be people asking, I'll ask on their behalf, why can't you put more in? Why can't you put more cash in?
I don't have any more line, but the whole point is it's about fan and what this is about fan ownership. It's not about me. This is me giving the vehicle to the fans that they can take over in 10 years' time. If I put more, the whole thing's got to be viable in 10 years. I don't want to be sitting here in 10 years the same as these guys are saying who wants to buy the football club, and then another 10 years on I'm still not sold. This is about, for me as well, having a kind of end date as well, and I know that I can hand over to the fans and walk away and say, well, I've done my best and hopefully left a healthy football club for them.
Tell us a little bit about your background, Gordon, how you got started in business and what brought you here today.
I'm a joiner. My background is I'm a joiner. I started a company called Laidlaw Scott in 1992. I sold it in 2006. I spent 2 years developing this place, overseeing the design, construction, tweaking things to what I thought was a good finish. I then started, I had money in the bank from selling the company. The interest rate went from being pretty reasonable, making me a good interest rate, and virtually nothing. So I had to find a way to sustain my lifestyle. So I started buying houses in Livestream, purely because I saw a market there. I was buying houses.
That's a logical thing to do. Of course,
Why else would you do it? No, it just happened. It's just one of these things. A lot of things. It just opportunity came along. I had the money to do it and did it. And then I started building a house in Spain again. It started out very much as a kind of a project for me, long term, to move down there, and then ended up just as a project to do business.
We've heard and we've read in other interviews that Simran's a big part of your life. You've been on the board before. We'll talk about that in a second. But just in terms of what the club means to you, your memories of the club, and tell us maybe things that stand out for you.
It's one of the funniest things is I look down and one of the things that makes me realise that people are unreasonable, fans are unreasonable. I look back at myself and I used to go home and away to every game, and then they made Alec Miller the manager. And I was a daft young boy, and I thought, ex-Morn manager, plays crap football, I'm not going back. And that's how I started playing amateur football at that point. So I know that there is a logic, but football's not about logic, and I understand that when I'm getting into this, I'm not getting into blinkers. I know people are going to be the same as I was and say, oh, this is just, they don't understand the full picture. That people there, Alan Marshall was the chairman at the time Alec Miller was a manager, and he points out Alec Miller was probably one of the most successful managers in the history of a football club, but to me, as a daft young boy, it was ex-Morton, nah, not for me. So that's...
You understand the mindset of the fans.
Exactly.
You get to go to many games.
Now I was home and away, and when I was a director again, I was home and away. Although when I was doing the stadium, I actually found myself missing a lot more games because when I was travelling, I would travel over the weekend because all the stadium meetings were on like a Wednesday, so I ended up missing the games on a Saturday, so I could be here for the more important meetings. And I found that I must have found it hard the last few years because of when I left the board the last time. I left a bad taste in my mouth. So, and with the guys selling it, it didn't sit well with me.
Why did you leave the board the last time?
I left because, as a board, we'd always a gentleman's agreement that we'd sell. If we were selling, we'd all sell together. I found out 2 hours before that 51% of the guys some of the guys had got together and decided to try and sell their shares individually rather than involve us all. So that happened in September. a smash about the bonus payments, and there was various things going on. We were fighting relegation, so I kind of sat my hands for till the end of the season. Then I thought, you know what, there's no point in me contributing here because I can't really contribute to the club going forward. So at that point, I just resigned. I actually resigned the day before Gus got the sack, because I could see that coming, and I didn't think it was fair if I was part of it.
When this goes over the line and you get the keys, we're talking a 10-year commitment before things transition over to SMiSA and fan ownership. 10 years is a long time in business. There's a lot of uncertainties. You strike me as a very ambitious guy. You like building things. Do you think you'll stick around for 10 years?
Oh yeah, I mean I've been very lucky in life, and I've worked some good places, I've made money, and this to me is like giving something back. I've always felt that I was looking for my next thing I wanted to do, and when I built this place, I'm very proud of my involvement in this, and it gave me more pleasure probably than anything I've done in my life. And the thought of being here for 10 years, I'm enthusiastic about it. It doesn't fill me with any dread at all. Once we're off the line, I'm 100% for it.
And do you see the opportunity, and you saw an opportunity in Las Vegas, and credit to you for that. Do you see an opportunity here to grow a business here, to bring in revenue streams, to get new income and money to spend?
Yeah, I mean that's the way we're going to take the club forward. I mean, let's be realistic. Money is in football. Money talks. Unless we can actually increase the revenue of the club, increase income streams, we're always going to be where we are between the first division and the Premier League. Alright, we can do things to try and make that better, but bottom line is we need to bring more money into the club. I'm hopeful I can do that. I'm confident I can do that.
And do you have relationships in mind? Do you have ideas in mind?
I have ideas in mind, but I think quite often in business I've always found that sometimes the little ideas become big ideas. There's no £1 million idea. There's no big massive thing I can bring in a fortune that way, but it's the silly little things that sometimes can grow and become a bigger idea.
So this time next year, you've got the keys, you're in, you're the man in charge, you're the chairman. How big's your board of directors, and who's going to be on it?
Well, at this point, we need a quorum of 5, and I've talked to 5 people, and there might be more. There's other people who are I might be interested in bringing on board. There's existing people who I've talked to as well. So I know for a fact 5. Obviously myself, Tony Fitzpatrick, who's the CEO just now, he'll become a director. Chris Stewart, who's our company secretary just now, he will remain on the board. Dave Nicol over here, he'll be the first SMiSA guy on the board. That'll only be until such time as SMiSA have an official vote, which will probably be around about the summer AGM in November. So Dave will take on that role, because I think it's important that I show the commitment straight away rather than waiting for SMiSA to have votes. I think it's important to show that commitment straight away to the SMiSA. And Alan Wardrobe has agreed to join the board as well, who people will know from his work with the Fans Council.
And I'm only asking because people have as me this across the 10 years, would there be any scope in principle for SMiSA to have more than one person on the board?
Well, we always said it'd be in proportion. So if I say appoint 2 or 3 people to the board who are not SMiSA, then there's no limit to how many people SMiSA guys can be on the board. If a guy's good enough and a guy can bring something to the table, then we want him in the club. It's not about being exclusive. It's not about trying to. It's just if somebody can bring something to the board. When I go in and I feel we're short in that department, I want to bring people in to fill that void. It's not. We're also on fans. I mean, I'm a SMiSA member, so it's really it's about everybody involved.
And over this 10 years, so the deal is that at the end of the 10 years, you will sell the rest of St Mirren to SMiSA for the current value.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens if the value might vastly increase? Things might go really well. You could be sitting on a gold mine, and you're going to have to let it go to them cheap.
No, it's part of a long-term commitment. It's about building something. It's not about making money. I've other things I'll try and make money from. This is about getting something back. This is about building something for the future. It's not about making money. So I'd be delighted if it's worth 10 times the money when I sell it, but I won't get the benefit of it.
Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen, Gordon Scott. Thank you, Gordon. Thank you for being so open and honest. And just remember, folks, any questions that you've got, we will take them from the floor after the break, and you can also tweet them just now using hashtag by the buds. And if you haven't signed up yet, remember SMiSA.net. You can also, everybody that's here tonight can get themselves an official SMiSA badge, whether you sign up or not. At the back of the room, some of the SMiSA team can take all your details. If you've got your debit card with you and an email address, that's all we need, so we can get you signed up. We can make that commitment here tonight and back this campaign. I should also mention that on our front row we have Andrew Jenkin from Supporters Direct. So if there's any questions in the second half of the evening that you need to put to him, then we can certainly do that. We're going to take a break just now, and then we'll come back, and then George Adam is going to give us an update as well, and then we'll take your questions. So we'll take a 10 to 15 minute break, folks. And Gordon will talk about his chairmanship and his investment as well. So that's how we'll kind of funnel these questions. But we encourage you to ask whatever you like, and you can continue using that hashtag #BuyTheBuds. I'm just looking at a few that have come in. We've had one here from Chris Buckham, who says, Gordon, it would be prudent for you to say who you want on the board of directors. You must have people in mind. And then Chris says, I'm uncomfortable pledging money if I don't know who's on the board. I think you dealt with that a little bit, but is there anything you'd like to add?
I gave you the names of the folk who are going to be the board, so I can't really do much more than that.
There you go, Chris. Robert Hulley, will our budget be better or worse during the initial 10 years and also after that period? And will Gordon spend?
I won't spend any more money. I'll be looking at ways of generating more money so we can invest on the field. When we come in, of course, we won't be investing any more money in what is the budget just now. We will be hoping to try and raise some more funds before January, try and maybe have something to spend then. But really, all we're doing just now is coming in and just keeping things on the level so that people can take care to move forward.
I'll probably put this one to you and George as well. It's from Mark Kelly, no relation. It says, does SMiSA fully entrust Alex Ray and David Farrell with the responsibilities of the team's affairs? So Gordon, just to get thoughts from you.
Yes.
Yes. And George?
The answer would be yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice and clear. And Stuart Duncan says, an interesting discussion using Periscope and SMiSA on By the Buds. Even though I support the mighty Ton, would like to see this being a success. Get out of here, Stuart. There you go. $2,500 a year. Put him down for that. And Gary McIntyre, can Gordon specify any particular ideas he has for the club and his vision after gaining control? You talked about this a bit, but I think people want more from it. What do you bring to the table here, Gordon?
I'd like to think that I'll bring just a few different ideas. There's just the club itself. The people who run the club just now are tired. They don't have the enthusiasm to take it forward. With myself and the other guys on the board, hopefully I know we can take it forward. We'll have different ideas. People just now who maybe want to invest in the club will be a wee bit kind of, they won't want to do it because the folk are leaving, they're going to get money for selling the club. When we come in, hopefully these people who are standing holding off just now will start to invest. And I'll give you an example of one of my ideas, which is a very kind of small idea, but when I start to think about it, it grows. I really like the idea of having our season ticket as being useful at other grounds. I mean, I talked to Brian Colwell in Shrewsbury, and I said, look, Brian, if our season ticket holders wanted to come to Shrewsbury, could they go and use their ticket at your game and vice versa? Now that's quite a small idea, and it's given some back to season ticket holders, but I know Tony Fitzpatrick has talked a lot to the airport, and the airport's obviously just down the road, so the logic again is maybe, okay, we can talk to the airlines and say, well, this airline flies to somewhere where we want to make a partnership with the football club, so maybe we can talk to the airlines and again have a situation where that airline gives a sponsorship, it gives the fans maybe a discount to go to certain grounds, and again on the back of that you can maybe form a group of clubs who can actually go and get kit together, who can work together to actually get better deals for things. So in business I've found that quite often one small idea, one small job can lead to a bigger job, and that's just a small example of the way I see it going. It's not all about making $1 million ideas straight away. It's about developing ideas. It's about developing the club, and that's the way I see it going forward.
So there's fresh energy, fresh thinking,
exactly, yeah.
Ideas, and I guess it's fresh listening to other potential partners and seeing what they have, been a little bit more open because you've got the energy to take them on.
Plus we've got 1,000 members. We've got 1,000 members who hopefully will all going to feed in as well. They'll have ideas. It's not just about me. This is about everybody feeding into the club. Everybody having ideas. I mean, in this room there's probably at least half a dozen folk who've got ideas of how we can take the club forward, things we can do. This is all about listening to other people. It's not just about me.
Can I just add, one of the things I've found in the past year working with Gordon has been that we've mentioned about the challenges and difficulties and how things have changed, and Gordon's been the one that's actually said, well, why don't we look at this from that perspective? Why don't we try something completely different and look at a different way? And see, as a St Mirren fan, I think that's the kind of talent you want in your chairman, who can actually look at a difficult problem and say, well, that's not going to work, but I'll maybe try and do it that way. And I think for me, that's probably one of the biggest things. We've worked quite closely with Gordon over, and your name wrong there. That's so closely I forgot your name. But we've worked closely over the past year, and I've seen that's one of the kind of major tools that you've got there that can bring that forward. Is right, that's not working, let's get it sorted. And I think for a club like St Mirren, that's the kind of thing we're looking for.
And being able to adapt, I suppose, is really important as well. That's all the questions from the social media. Matthew's here. If you've got a question for any of the panel, can you stick your hand up and Matthew will come over? We've got one down in the front here, Matthew, the gentleman in the St Mirren strip and the cap as well. So if you just stick your question into the microphone and we'll address it to the panel. On you go.
Right. See the board that's sitting in it? Are they skin or are they just bored with the club totally?
They're just tired. I mean, they've been here for 20 years.
Right.
You can do something, I mean, I think 10 years for me is enough to do anything, and then they've been trying to leave.
I've got mates at other clubs, right? We've just finished the Fans Fit Club, right? Now, other clubs in the Championship have got ladies football teams and over 50s running football teams. We have got nothing here, but nothing at all. Yeah. And that makes us look like a poorly managed Championship. Really does.
I'll answer that because that's the community-based stuff. I think St Mirren got off to a flyer when they started the community stuff, and you've been part of a programme that's been involved as well. And it feeds into a lot of the stuff the Scottish Government's doing about fitness and making sure that we're moving away from obesity and things like that. And I think one of the things that we would want to do, and the fact that fans would be involved is, you know, there is another St Mirren Trust that's set up. I hate to say it, but Greenock Morton are actually very good at this. They've got their trust where they've actually worked with the community and they've done very well with that. And I think that's something as fans, once we're working with Gordon, it's also another income stream as well.
So that's what I was thinking, because I met the coach, the Greenock Morton ladies football team, because they were playing, that's coming from Barton.
Is she good one?
No, it's a guy their team's excellent one, right? They don't take prisoners here, this is the Barton ladies. But we're lacking because we're not doing this.
No, I think you're right.
You know what I mean?
I think there's a lot of things in the community that we've kind of moved on, but that goes back to what Gordon's already said. You know, if you've not got somebody at the top who's constantly looking for new ideas and new ways of doing things, then you're not going to get these ideas. But what you're talking about would definitely be part of the plans that we'd be talking about.
Well, we've got guys with the Fit Fans Club, and we're trying to sponsor ourselves as a football team to go with Saints, and we're getting no help at all for the board.
Well, that's something we could look at and talk about offline from the meeting as well. But really, it's that's the kind of thing that we're looking at, is to try and be more involved in the community as well.
Thank you.
Surely that's just an example of the fact that our current board are tired and we don't have the energy.
Well, as I mean, if you have, yeah, I mean, if you're not going to be here, you're not going to create more work for yourself. I mean, and again, having been on the board before, the biggest thing is on the pitch. I mean, that's really what will sell. That's what will sell tickets. That's what keeps everybody happy. But you've got to look at the small things as well, and the small things you miss when you've done it for 20 years and you don't want to do it anymore. You miss the small things like you're talking about. You just focus on out there, and again, sometimes the small things lead to more supporters and lead to more money coming in. That's what we need to focus on.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much for the questions. Anyone else with a question for the panel this evening? Stick your hand up. Yeah, we've got one here, Matthew.
First of all, credit to all the guys that have been involved so far. I think it's clear to most people that it's a very credible bid, and congratulations on taking it this far. What I would like to ask though is that if it doesn't transpire that we get to the 1,000 by Sunday, what's going to happen? And I say that from a positive stands, because we want to make it clear that potentially we're going to lose what is a very credible bid, and I think it's important to get the message out there about what might happen.
We'll get 1,000. I've no doubt the fans will get behind us. Even looking at the 10,000 hours thing, they got a large surge at the end. If we can get the message out there, I think I know the fans will support us. We've got a situation where it's credible. Probably the numbers we have now is credible, but it's sustainable. And the whole point is to bang you out 10 years' time. It's not just about getting this done now, it's the long term. And we've looked at even talking to the people who lent money and things, really we need 1,000 people to make it credible. But I say we're not far away just now from actually getting to a page where we think, well, possibly we could do it, but I have complete confidence we'll get there. I will get there, we will.
And you can help us get there if you've not signed up yet, if you're watching on Periscope, SMiSA.net, and again, have a word if you've not already done so with the team at the back of the room before you leave here tonight.
Yeah, just on that point, I think Gordon makes a good point. It's the credibility. If we can't get 1,000 people to sign up to this, now the mechanics of the deal might still work, but in reality, we've got to ask ourselves a question: is do the St Mirren fans want this? And if we're struggling to get 1,000 people, then that's a really serious. It's a sad indictment, I think, on the project. So, we might be able to do it with less than 1,000, but the reality is, do we still want to do it at that point? One point I would stress though is that in the current number, which is just about 850, we've got about 100 people there paying £25, and they're only counted once. Now that's always been the case, that they would only be counted once. We've never wavered from that, because our target was to have 1,000 people with those included. But just to give you an idea that 850 is actually a really positive number that we're at that point right now. But we've got to get that final surge and get that push over the line to get to 1,000 before really actually we would all be comfortable. I think those of us at SMiSA, Gordon and the sales would be comfortable with the credibility of the project.
There's also, if we get 1,000 members, what we have to try and do is we have to engage the people who are members, and hopefully people see, if we can give benefits to the members, if they can see the good it does, if they can see where their money's going, people who are not members, who are maybe sitting on the fence, they'll decide, no, I want to be part of this, I think this is a good idea. So we're saying 1,000, but we don't want to fall off, we want to go 1,000 and then go up, we don't want to go 1,000 and then go down, we want to see 1,000 people, and everybody's like, this is a great idea, this is working, we're doing events, we're doing whatever. We want to keep this going. It's not about 1,000, it's about 1,000 plus.
Okay, anyone else? There's one right at the back. We'll come back to you, sir. I know you've got another question, but Nancy's just going to go up to the back and we'll get back to you.
My name is Peter Muldoon. I ran the Boys Club for roughly 10 years. Now, we had teams coming for 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right up, and it was amazing the money that we pulled in for some of the parents. This seems to have disappeared. I'm not saying it, we should get in about families and ask them for a tenner or this, but the Boys Club should actually be making money if any of our boys goes junior or anything like that. It should come back to St Mirren. That's all I've got to say.
Good point. All right, Peter, thank you very much. Good point. Well made. George, do you want to come in on that?
Yeah, can I just add, I see the best structure, and I've spoken with the SFA on this as well, but I think the best structure is, the St Mirren already do the street stuff, where it's basically they go out into the community, they meet a lot of the kids, the areas where there's been disorder from the kids has come down quite a bit because they go out and do this. But that's only one aspect of it. I see another aspect of that side, and the actual coaching, the boys club side working together in such a way where they're crossing over. And from some of these sides you will get kids and families involved and moving over. Not every young boy or young woman's going to be a footballer when they make the grade, but it's all about making sure that they still have healthy lives and that they're involved in the club. And with the club's connection with UWS and West College Scotland, we can make a difference. We can make a difference in the community as well. So I think the boys club idea, it's strange that St Mirren have always had a disconnect with the boys club almost. It's always by the time they're pro youth that we actually start seeing them. So I think it should be, personally I believe that there should be a way where we can actually get everything that St Mum's doing, but have two strands almost, and it's almost from the cradle to the grave, because there'll be guys like us still playing football as well, and that's all going to be part of it. So I would say that would be the best way forward for a community club like St Mum, to make sure that we can get the best of talent, and also make sure that we make an impact in the people's health in Paisley.
Colin, can I just ask, do you think under your stewardship over this 10-year period would the running costs need to come down?
I have to be honest, I think the running costs are probably as tight as they could possibly be right now. What we have to do is try and make more income, and that's what we need to do. I think if you speak to the staff here just now, they're all flat out. I don't think the running costs can be cut anymore.
Okay. Any further questions, Matthew? You've got another one down the front here. Yeah. We answered this first question so well, he's back for another one, and he doesn't need the mic, he's just going to shout. Right, let's hear it.
Basically, right, what you're trying to get the fans interested. A lot of the fans are new disillusioned, because what's happened in the past is we've had good managers. For example, we won the Scottish Cup, 6 months later, paid them off, right? We won the Anglo-Scottish Cup, the only Scottish club to do it, 6 months later, paid them off. We won the League Cup, again, 6 months later, paid the man off, right? So you're losing fans for all over the place, right? If you've got a good manager, a successful manager, like we had in Gus McPherson, keeping us up all the time, made us fight for every point, and then for some reason, oh, he's no good to us anymore. If that man had still been here, we'd have probably got more trophies.
Isn't this the reason we would do a project like that though?
Aye, but
like
the problem is, a lot of your fans are disillusioned.
Yeah.
That's how you're not filling the stadium.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, I'm a big Gus McPherson fan. I mean, I see a letter day before the sack. I would have given them more time. But a lot of the fans were disillusioned. You're saying, oh, I was for it, but a lot of the fans, I mean, and I can understand both sides. I can understand the logic behind letting them go. I can understand the logic behind keeping them, but people get bored, and the club has got a ceiling just now which we need to raise, and we're always going to hit off that ceiling. Gus did well to keep us in the league. The football wasn't the best at times. I think he himself will agree that, but he got us to a point, and he wanted to change that. He would have liked to change that, but he wasn't given the chance. But I still think Danny Lennon did well when he came in, so you can't say it was a bad move, and the football was better. If said the football was some of the best football, so you don't know. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'll make mistakes. I'm not. Unfortunately, in football, you make a decision with the manager, and basically you stand or fall with that decision. I mean, that's. I think a good manager. I think Alec is very similar to Gus in terms of you'll get the best out of the players. He'll give us a team that will fight, which is all we really asked for. We want to watch good football, but at the end of the day, if the guys in the pitch are fighting every inch of the way, if we lose the game, all right, we're not happy. But as long as you've seen total commitment, most of us are happy with that. And I think you cannot. It's just luck. It really is. You can pick the best guy you think. Couple of injuries, couple of whatever. That's it.
A proper St Mum fan will always be disillusioned to some degree. Here's Dave.
That's very true. I think it's a great point. I think we've all felt it. I think over the last few years a bit of disillusionment, and I think there's a couple of points on that. Part of it's a disconnect. I think the fans don't feel part of the club a lot of the time, and we would hope to address that by being part of this bid, by being part of this campaign, the fans will be a real central part of the club. And the other side of it, I think, is also a kind of energy. The club is lacking a bit of energy just now, and that's when you've got a board at the top that don't really want to be there, and all credit to them for the things they've done in the past, but now they're ready to go. That lack of energy and that lack of enthusiasm, that comes right through an organisation, whether it's a football club or a business or whatever it might be. That lack of enthusiasm goes right through, and it goes through right to the players, and it goes to the fans. And one of the biggest things that we're offering here is actually to get rid of that, and you have a board who are energised and who are enthusiastic and who want to be here. And I think you'll be amazed at the change that will make in an organisation like this.
Dave on the board.
Thank you. There's some interesting ones coming through on social media. This one's from Martin McPhee, and he says, this is probably one for Dave here. Can you clarify if the payments per month are to service the debt borrowed to purchase the club? And if so, what happens if, of your 1,000 people, if too many of them leave, are we then left with the debt?
So the payments per month are staged payments to the consortium. The way it will work is we make an initial down payment, then each month we pay about £5,000. That's not servicing a debt as such as it's paying up the consortium, paying up the purchase price. At this point, we wouldn't have borrowed money from anybody, so we'll be paying that up over time, and then there's a final sort of balloon payment, which at the end the last amount which Gordon has guaranteed just now. So we've built into our model, and again it's one of the crucial reasons why we need 1,000 people, we've built into our model a certain element of drop-off, but as Gordon says, actually we would really hope to increase, once the fans see the influence and the impact that we're having in the club and the changes we're making, then we would really hope to see that increase. But it wouldn't be prudent to base our model on that, so what we've based it on is that there will be a drop-off, and we've allowed for a fair degree of drop-off in the early months to account for that. So £5,000 per month is more than affordable. It's comfortable. If you think about it, we're going to have 1,000 people paying £12, so we've got £12,000 per month coming in. We would need more than half to drop off before that becomes unsustainable. But in reality, what we'd actually want to see is that increase as people see what a great change that we've made and what good their money's doing at their football club.
We've got one here from Dougie Adam, who says, Gordon, you were saying that once you become chairman, you won't use any extra of your money to run the club. And Dougie's saying that the current board currently loan the club most seasons between January and the summer. He says it's a bit of a shortfall. He says, are we going to reduce the budget so that there is no cash flow issue during the second half of the season?
I know the answer anyway, but part of the situation is that we're bringing in, it's 12,000 a month, but 2,000 of that goes towards the club. That's for you guys to decide where it goes. But you imagine we're bringing in 10,000 a month, 5,000 is going to the guys that are selling. So for every month we've got £5,000 going towards a fund that it's like a rainy day fund. We appreciate that there is nearly always a cash flow issue come probably March. But the whole point is that £5,000 will build up and will be used to cover any cash flow. That's one of the things that myself and SMiSA agreed. I've committed more to this deal than I really wanted to. And one of the things we agreed on was that SMiSA, as part of the members' money, would lend 50,000 to the club. So I was able to put more money up front to get the deal done. So we will have, by the time March comes along, when the cash flow usually happens, we should have at least 50,000 sitting there to help cover that.
Thank you. Chris Buckham says, what are the incentives for signing up and paying £25 as opposed to 12? So one for you, Dave.
You put me in the spot there, and I can't remember them all. There's certain sort of exclusive events, Q&As, meet the manager type sessions, things like that you'll be able to attend. So there's certain exclusive events that the £25 members will get, and they also get a draw.
£12 members get a draw.
£12 members get a draw to attend those £25 a month membership. It's all available on the website, SMiSA.net, if you want to see more. Apologies, I can't remember them all right now.
But again, the whole point is, these are things that won't cost the club money. So if the members say, I would really like to have this, we're open to suggestions. It's not all about this is what you're getting and that's it. This is about developing the idea, about trying to encourage the 12 guys to become £25 guys, to encourage people who aren't putting any money in to put £12 in. And it's going to be, we've got ideas, but everybody else will have ideas as well. And we're going to take these ideas, and the important thing is we don't take money from the club. It has to be things that don't cost the club money, that don't cost things that fans want to do, like the Q&A with the manager. I know SMiSA do that just now, but we'll open up to a larger audience, things like that I say don't cost the club money, and think other folk will have ideas that are similar ideas that we can do.
Colin, money can't buy. Colin, no.
Money costs
anybody.
We'll take some more questions from the phone in a second. I can see some new tweets have come in, so I'll give us back to you and you can refresh and find them. There's one from Thomas Keatings who says, like it or not, St Mirren aren't just a football team anymore, it's a business. It has to be run as a business first. He says the key here has to be alternative income streams, non-football related, and he's talking about developing, I guess, this space for business conferences and that sort of thing. Is that part of your vision, Gordon?
Well, most certainly I've said that anything I invest will be in principle and bring money into the club. We always looked at the corners, filling in the corners, that sort of thing, but again, it has to be something that will make us money. It's not just something we want to do to make the place look prettier. We've got a wonderful facility next door that the fans council have generated. We want to make use of that as well. So there is many things that we can do to bring in money, but it's not just as simple as renting it out. You need more to employ more staff, so you need to think, well, okay, we can rent it out more often, but we need to compete against a lot of people. We need to employ more staff to do that. It's a balancing act. We need to find the balance. We need to think of ways to bring in more money, but it's not just as simple as we can do this, we can do that. We have to plan it out. We have to look at it and see how it's going to work.
Okay, thank you, folks. Any more questions from the floor? I think we've got one in the front here. Thank you, Matthew.
Hi there. My name's Harry Millen. I've been watching from afar for the last few months about how it's all progressing and how you guys really are going to be performing for the rest of the fans. One thing I've been involved for a wee while now as well, and one thing that's just what you mentioned earlier on about the shortage of staff is, I think it's a big problem at the club, and especially when we were down last season as well. I know Brian had to make specific cuts, and anytime I'm at the club, I always see the staff all running about. Head of shipping half the time. Have you factored that into account? Because obviously, if you're going to grow the club, you're going to have to, get extra staff on without doubt. Having listened to you guys tonight, I mean, I've not signed up yet. I'll sign up tonight. But I think it's an important part, because whenever you're watching the staff all the time, they're always just running about the head of shipping.
So you're saying to get the return, you need to invest a bit first.
Well, definitely, I don't think it's anything about it.
Will you do it?
Oh no, I would agree with that. There's no doubt at all. But what you have to remember, every penny you spend in here is not going out there. I mean, the club budgets to break even, so maybe not running about like chickens, but we don't mind running about a little bit if it means we can put some more money onto the pitch. But no, it's a service. It's all about service. And we need one more person to give a better service, and that brings an extra 50 people through the door. That makes sense. If you have the same number of people and you put one more person on and you don't get any benefit from it, then you don't do that. But no, we've got to look at the whole thing and say, well, if we have one more person serving the bar, how many more people is that going to, how many more balls of beer are they going to buy? Is it worthwhile? It's all relative.
Just to add, there's certain things like on TV and radio as an example of how we should or could develop things in the future. That's a partnership with UWS and using some of the young students to actually develop that. These are the kind of things that we could talk about and do as well, which doesn't necessarily mean bringing on extra staff, but it means that we're actually helping a partner organisation kind of train up a member or a student as well. So there's other ways you can do these things as well, which would actually help the community as well, and mean that we've got an opportunity to do that here at SMiSA. One of the things that SMiSA have been really good at is through the street stuff that they've done, the number of people that they've ended up employing directly from that as well is quite incredible, and that's something that we don't shout about enough, is tell people that we've actually done that. And we're sitting here in Ferguson Park, some 2 or 3 of the streets are the most deprived, allegedly, the areas in the whole of Scotland. So we should be doing something here to make sure that we can actually, as a club, we can actually deliver something back to the community. And I think that goes down to what you're saying as well. It's not just about football anymore, just like someone else said. It's about what we can give back and what the community can get as well from us. An example of some of the things I've done is Brian Caldwell told me that some dads came in and taught them how to cook a meal. And they ended up sitting, it sounds silly, but they've done it here in St Munn Corporate Hospitality. They wouldn't do it in a draft day community hall somewhere and mop on the way and sat down and had a meal. And that's the kind of thing that I think, we need to be relevant to the people of Paisley, and that's for the community. We don't just talk about being part of the community, we need to be relevant and we need to be where they want to go. And we're lucky, we've got a brand that people actually want to be. Street stuff works because people want to engage with it.
Thank you, George. Yes, got another one over here.
Just a comment, because I was heavily involved in the supporters club next door, and one of the things, just to back up what George is saying, is that the supporters club was built, but it was also built in mind with multi-purpose use, and we've actually put in a dance floor, and the dance floor is actually for the children in the local community. And you now see street stuff where the boys who played football, the girls were, they're now attending and using the facility. And also in terms of revenue, subscriptions, the supporters club's generating an extra £20,000 a year, then you add in all the additional facilities, and it's 50 grand plus. So, bit of energy, a bit of enthusiasm, bit of, looking at it differently. One other thing, just one final comment, if you don't mind, is that you're looking at the membership just now, 850 subscribing to the takeover bit. But you can also look at when we did the supporters club, it was a slow start, people didn't know if it was going to happen. We've now got to the point we've got 200 members, we've only got a capacity of 223, we had to close the door, and effectively we've now got a waiting list of over 20 people waiting to get into a club, so it's going to happen.
Well, really encouraging to hear, and thank you for sharing that.
I think we should get that guy on the board.
We'll hold you to that. Any more questions? There's one just at the back there, Matthew, over on your right hand side.
I've got a couple of questions. The first one's a sort of finance one. You said you want to get a loan to fund the remaining buyout. Is that going to be secured against anything?
So I can't categorically say no, but it's unlikely, is what I would say. We spoke with, initially we spoke with some traditional commercial lenders, and actually they don't have a great deal of interest in football at all, as you can imagine. But certainly there are very few banks that would like to take, for example, the stadium as security, because they don't really want to foreclose on a football stadium. The damage that would do to them from a PR perspective is not worth the risk of the loan. And so what the two social lenders that we're kind of talking to and Sports Direct Bank, they wouldn't be looking for security over an asset like the stadium. They're more likely to look for security over either over the shares or possibly over the way they call it, security of the organisation, which is to say if things are not being operated well, they have the opportunity to come in and help you make it a success. The lenders we're talking to now are not really interested in having, it's not like a mortgage, they're not interested in taking your house off you. What they're interested in is giving something back to this, something social back to the community, but then if things aren't working and you're not making your repayments, they're interested in making that work, and that might be extending the period, it might be taking payment holidays, it might be restructuring the way that the payments are made, so it could be restructuring the organisation. That's more likely how they would try and address a default situation. So, in short, it's unlikely to be secured against anything material like the stadium.
Thank you, and thank you for all your questions. You got a wee follow-up? Yeah.
It's just a comment you made regarding the sort of Q&A with the manager and events. One of the things that we do particularly well, or better than most clubs, is that we do have access to the manager, usually 2 or 3 times a season through the fans council, SMiSA or the club. Are they going to be taken away from the general support, or are they going to be additional to what the manager already does?
So we would be running sort of exclusive events for £25 per month members, but the other sessions would still, if the fans council decided they wanted to run an event, or the club decided they wanted to do it on their own, then that would be absolutely, we wouldn't stop anybody else from doing it. And we might maybe do it in a smaller group or something like that to give a bit more access, something like that. But certainly, no, we wouldn't be looking to exclude anybody.
Okay, we're going to get some more social media questions in just a moment or two, so thank you for them. Are there anyone else here tonight with a question from the audience? You folks have bothered to turn up tonight, so ask anything you like. You can hear how open everybody's being. Please don't be shy. Yeah.
How much involvement or advice have supporters direct been involved in the bid, the takeover? Is it just advisory, or have they had any other input whatsoever?
Seeing Andrew's here, they've been absolutely hopeless. No, they've been very supportive. Obviously they're there for this reason, to try and make sure there's more fan involvement in football, and they've helped us every step along the way. So much so that we've actually had it's us that have been talking to them about Supporters Direct Bank, and we hope to be the pilot. Should it actually happen, we would hope to be the pilot ground for that, because the whole idea of the bank is, you'll understand that banks will automatically not give to football clubs. We talked to St. legend Barry McLaughlin, and just so happens he's a banker as well, and he says he does Partick Thistle's accounts, and that he knows exactly what it's like dealing with football teams as well. So we know that it's going to be difficult. So that's the whole point. The Supporters Direct have gone down this route to try and create this bank. And I'll probably bring Andrew in at this point, just say a few words and just say how supportive you've been of us, you know.
Stretch far enough. Well, yeah, we've worked with SMiSA. SMiSA have been a member of Supporters Direct for a number of years now. I'd like to think we've been there for every step of the journey so far. We produced a report for the trust with a sort of a feasibility study or a look at the club's accounts to see how feasible a takeover bid might be, which I think has been very useful. We've also, George has come along to a couple of our supporters summits where we sort of share best practice amongst the fan ownership movement, not just in Scotland but across the UK. So the Swansea City supporters who have 20% in Swansea City, and numerous other organisations across the UK. So yeah, I just add that it's an incredibly credible bid, and we're very supportive of SMiSA and their efforts. So I wish them all the best.
One other point Andrew didn't mention was also that what we're proposing here is quite similar to the Foundation of Hearts model, and Sport Direct also facilitated setting up a meet with them to try and understand their model. So Sport Direct have been brilliant, been huge supporters for this bid, but also for years before that.
There is one negative though, they always ask politicians to come to their events, and I've never been asked to one gig to actually speak at yet, so apart from that, but on the whole it's been fantastic, and they've done exactly what they're meant to do to support us. And the good thing is it's opened up dialogue with us and other clubs. Hearts being one of them. We spoke to some Motherwell fans at one of the last event, and I spoke to my counterpart as chairman in Swansea, and he told me they had that scenario that Colin mentioned, where it went from the club worth nothing to the club worth an absolute fortune because they ended up in the Premiership in England. So it was interesting to actually have these conversations. I don't think you need to worry about that right now.
Okay, here's another few that have come in on the social media, so thank you very much for all your engagement tonight, however you're watching this. Here's one from Kyle. This is my question for Gordon. If the bid goes ahead and the current board and Alex Ray are in negotiations with a player, will you support that, or will negotiations have to start again?
No, the manager has a budget, and he has a budget now that's not going to change when I come in. So the basic thing, the biggest thing we're going to do just now is bring in continuity. We're not going to change in, we're going to take time, we're going to find out what we have to change. So the manager's got a budget, the budget will stay the same as it is just now, and the manager's got full authority. He knows he's got a budget to spend, he has limits, he works within those limits.
Thank you, and here's one for you, George. This is from Fraser Crawford. He's talking about the raised platform that is meant to be getting built for disabled fans. He says, is that still going ahead, or would it still go ahead under SMiSA control?
Anything that's already been agreed and was going forward as a project would continue. I've already spoke to the Smart Disabled Supporters Association, and we discussed this previously as well. So, but I don't know if the final idea was the raised platform, or actually pulling out some seats in the main stand now. I think it's moved on from the raised platform to pulling out some seats from the journals, so your colleagues will be booted out.
Keep breaking to me like this.
And some disabled kind of supporters and their carers will get the opportunity there. So that was the last I heard of it, because that was probably the best way to do it, because they couldn't get the funding for the platform.
All right, but anything that's been agreed will be carried on, and maybe if specific issues like that, maybe we can follow up with you later on, see what's happening there. And here's one from Robert. He's talking about local sponsorship. Will there be an increased drive to attract more of it? He says one example, things like there's a Thompson Cycles hoarding still taking up space on the main stand, despite the fact that the store closed almost 2 years ago. And so will there be a push on to fill these redundant spaces and to get more local sponsorship coming in?
Yeah, well, obviously, again, we've got to try and get as many people involved as we can, as many sponsors involved as we can. So it goes without saying that, yes, we will be trying to bring in more sponsors. National sponsors and local sponsors have all got a place. If somebody wants to give us money, then. But again, I also think we have to look at what we give as well. It's not just about take. We have to, like, my idea about the season ticket thing for our clubs, we have to be able to give something back as well. I feel as if when I was involved, I felt it was always about what can you give to us. There was no feedback the other way. I feel that sometimes we need to think, well, what can we do for you? We want your money, but what can we do to actually earn your money?
Folks, before we move to wrap things up and before we reveal the new total of people who have signed up to buy the buds, are there any final questions from the floor this evening? No? That's fine. All right. We'll hand over to George for some closing words. I'm going to get George as well to reveal the new total. So thank you very much, everyone, for your support tonight. Here's George Adam.
Where is it? Oh yeah, I'll say it there. No blinks of that here, but we're looking at it's 861. Now that's just been since I left earlier on today. It was 832. So now we've kind of come up quite a bit between this event. Shows you how worthwhile this is here, and obviously people watching at home as well. But I think one of the important things is that we have to kind of look. This is our final chance. This is our best chance to be part of the club. And all these ideas that we've discussed, I think this is the only way we're going to do it. Yes, there could be, they're going to sell the club. It's definitely going to be sold. But it could end up, who is it going to be? That's always been the debate we have to ask ourselves. Now, up until now, the board have been extremely picky and made sure that they've not gone down the route of selling to anyone else. And that's why they're still working with us and Gordon, trying to find ways to make this work. That's why we've got this plan in front of you today, is basically everyone is trying to make this work. Now, we need to get 1,000 people, as we've kept saying all night. And it sounds as if it's a very complex debate that we've been having over the past couple of months, but it's not. It's very simple. It's about our football team and our community, and make sure that it's not just about the football. It's about what this club means to us emotionally and what it means to this town. You know, that I was talking to one of the journalists today when we were discussing it, and I said, you know, he says, well, how much of a part of the town is St Mirren? I said, well, the fact that the black and the white cap flow through the very heart of the town tells you that our football strips actually come from something that's an important part of the town. And I think we've got to remember that, because we've got to remember how much this club means to us. You know, we've only got until Sunday to actually make this happen, and we need to get the 1,000 people. Because you remember the first time you felt when your dad dragged you here screaming and kicking, or let's be, we're in the 21st century now, I'm showing my age, your mum and dad brought you into football. With me it was my dad. My dad brought me along, and I remember countless games that we walked away, my dad says, we're no going back, son, that's it, I'm no going back. But it means that much to us, because, you know, my own kids are now in their 20s. I know, I don't look old enough to have kids in their 20s, but basically my kids are in their 20s now, they're St Mirren fans. I've given them this as a legacy, so that they too can go through this. But we love it, because I'm Paisley's member of the Scottish Parliament. I could be doing an awful lot of other things than doing this. During an election campaign, when I was getting re-elected there, I was getting involved in this. And the whole idea was because I want this club to actually be everything it possibly can be. And the only way that's going to happen is if we all work together and we make sure that we can deliver that. Because who cares more about it than us? You know, instantly, the minute I started telling you, I could see about when your dad or whoever brought you to the game, your grandpa, you know, you all start to get misty-eyed. You remember getting taken over the turnstile at Love Street and, you know, going to see some of the games then. And it was good things and bad things, but I remember saying to my own wife, who luckily likes football, while when we left Love Street for the last time, I said, I don't know if this says a lot about me, but this has been the one constant in my life, coming here every 2 weeks to see this football team. And I think, you know, we need to start enjoying it again. We need to be part of it. The fans need to be part of it. And this is the way Scottish football is going to go. Scottish football needs to work with people. That's why Hearts has done so well, Wan Budge. Has to work with people like, I think you were saying earlier on as well, Gordon, that, you know, that's the best model now for the future. Fans and every businessman working together to try and deliver it. Because for too long we've been outside looking in, and we need to be an integral part of that. So all I would say is, you know, I think this club is far too important for us to let it go to just anyone. I think we need to grab this opportunity. I think we need to get many people signed up as possible, and we need to make sure that we can actually secure the future of this club. Thank you.
I'd just like to make one closing comment. we're not facing Armageddon. With a lot of these the times this happens, it's, the things are bad, things are so bad, and they're closing the door. But we have said at times we're not facing a crisis, but we finished behind Wharton for the first time in 20 years. If that's not a crisis, then I don't know what it is. So everybody get out of there, text everybody you know, email everybody you know, get them to sign up, and let's get this done, and let's just make a difference. Thanks.
Folks, thank you very much. Thanks for being here tonight. We're not dashing off anywhere, so if you need to still sign up, the SMiSA team will be there. Somebody said they haven't signed up yet, but they will tonight. I took a wee note of you, sir, so they're waiting for you there. And anybody else. So thank you very much. And remember, you can keep up to date on the website, smisa.net, and look out for more communication from the team soon. Thank you very much, folks.